Hello and welcome to Inner Court Taiji YouTube channel. My name is Cain Yentzer, and today we'll be talking about the process of sinking qi to the dantian, or the lower dantian. But before we can even get into sinking the qi all the way down to the lower dantian, xia dantian, you first need to get the qi to the zhen dantian. All right, and that's going to be what I'm going to be discussing in this video, getting the qi first to zhen dantian. And the zhen dantian is right behind the belly button. It's the belly button point. The xia dantian is the one most people talk about, and that's the one further down, closer to the pelvic floor. But before you even can get qi down there, you have to first get it to zhen dantian. So that's the subject for today. I'm going to begin with talking about how to sit for this practice. So you have two choices. Well, you can actually do this standing up. You can do this sitting down in a chair, or you can do this on the floor. Today I'm going to be talking about specifically how to do this sitting in a chair or sitting on the floor, mostly sitting on the floor. And if you're going to invest in doing this kind of practice, it's really probably best that you train your body to be able to sit on the floor in a half lotus. The shape that the body takes when you're in this position is just more conducive to bringing the qi down. It's about the shape of the body and how that shape focuses energy down into the points we're trying to get at. But if you want to do this in a chair, that's perfectly fine. The most important thing is that your legs are relaxed. If your legs are not relaxed, it's much more difficult for the qi to sink down. So let's start with the upper body posture. Okay? And the upper body posture is going to be the same for whether you're seated on the floor or whether you're seated in a chair or whether you're standing, but we're not talking about that today. So, and this posture is basically the same as your Taiji posture. Let me start with the spine specifically, and we're going to adjust the head first to adjust the spine and the neck. Then we're going to talk about the chest for the back, the middle back, and then we're going to talk about the coccyx for the lower body. Okay, and this is going to adjust the three parts of the back and put them in the correct position. So, firstly, the chin. You want to bring the chin in towards the chest or the throat. Okay? When you do that, you don't want to bring the head forward. You're not tucking in and dipping the head down. You're bringing the chin in, and it's leveling the head out. And what this does is the head should come back a little and sit more on top of the spine. But specifically, we want to do this to get the neck elongated and opened. Okay? So you should feel this in the back of your neck. And once again, you're not bringing the chin in, dipping the head down specifically, although it might dip a little bit. It's for the purpose of leveling the top of the head out, the crown of the head. All right, and you should feel this in the back of the neck. The back of the neck should become elongated. All right, that's the upper spine. Coming down to the thoracic, the middle back, or the upper back, excuse me, we adjust this by sinking the chest. Okay, and this sinking of the chest is very important because A, it adjusts the back, and B, it helps push the qi down. And I'll get more into that when we actually get into the internal parts. But you want to sink the chest in and slightly curl the shoulders forward. But what you don't want to do is end up hunching over. We're not hunching. When I give instructions to students to do this, a lot of the times they hunch. Okay, we're not hunching. We're simply allowing the chest to sink down, and the back rounds out, and the shoulder blades disappear into the back, become slightly rounded. That's the curling forward of the shoulders. Okay, but we don't want to start leaning or hunching. Now, the lower back, we adjust this by A, relaxing it, and B, having the coccyx tucked under and forward. So it's kind of tucking under the upper body. This is more difficult standing up, but it should be fairly easy, especially in this position. You should automatically have that happening. Okay, so the neck, bring the chin in towards the chest, raise the top of the head, okay, and elongate the back of the neck. The middle back or the upper back, you want to sink the chest down to round the back. The shoulder blade should disappear. And then the lower part of the body, you're tucking the coccyx under. And the coccyx are the last three bones in the tail, in the spine. All right, so that's what you're doing basically for the outer body. Whether you're sitting in a chair or sitting on the ground, you want to bring your hands to your knees when you are going to begin sitting. You're going to let your elbows hang down. All right? Let your shoulders sink into the torso. And that is your basic seated position as far as the upper body is concerned. Let's just go into the eyes and the mouth for a second. So when we go into start meditating or a breathing practice, you want to let the eyelids hang down naturally. The eyes are slightly open and you're looking forward, but you're not focusing on anything. All right? So you're just kind of blanking out because the stare is internal and your stare is into the points we're trying to concentrate on. Now the mouth is closed with the tongue on the roof of the mouth, the jaw closed but not clenching. It's softly closing both the lips and the jaw. Tongue, very important, on the roof of the mouth. And because we're just doing the basics, basically breathe in through the nose and then out through the nose. All right, just when you begin to get started. So that addresses the back, the hands on the knees, let the eyelids close slightly. There might be a little opening in the eyes, just let the eyelids relax. Tongue on the roof of the mouth, close the mouth gently. Don't clench the teeth, but the teeth are touching. Now, how to get into the seated posture. Let me just talk about the posture for a chair. So basically you're going to sit in a chair and you want to find a chair where your thigh bones are parallel to the ground. All right? You don't want the seat to dip in and kind of suck you backwards. Plus you want to sit away from the back of the chair so your back can have that slightly bowed posture from adjusting the spine. You want your feet to be able to rest comfortably on the floor, every part of the sole touching the ground. You want to have the feet, very important, parallel. Don't let the feet bow out. All right? If they bow, if the toes come towards each other, that's not a big problem, but you don't want the toes bowing out. You want the knees over the feet, and you want a 90-degree angle in the leg and the shin. So if you looked at it from the side, there would be a 90-degree angle. All right? Very important, the legs want to absolutely be relaxed. Now, to get into the posture, if you're going to sit on the floor, you want to have something under your pelvis to elevate you off the floor at least a couple of inches. You don't want to get too high, but you want to have elevation off the floor. Once again, this shape helps guide the energy down. Now, getting into what we're going to call half lotus, you're going to bring your left foot in, and your heel, you're going to bring it towards the pelvic floor. All right, bend that knee as best you can, and you want to be able to relax to the point that the leg is able to rest on the floor. If not, I'll talk about that in a second. Now, your right leg, you want to be very careful. Bring it in. You want to support the knee and the ankle joint. Bring it over, rest it on top of the left leg with the foot resting on the thigh. Okay, and you want to bring it in close. Now, it's very important to be able to relax the legs. Notice once you relax, the legs flatten out. That's what you want. This is a downward pull on the body. If your legs have a tendency to bow up and you're trying to learn how to train the body to sit in this posture, you can put bolsters or pillows under the thighs and slowly the legs will relax down. And when that happens, then you can sit like this. All right, but very important, you want the legs to be relaxed so you're not engaging back muscle and the abdomen in order to hold yourself up straight. All right, so that basically covers the basics of the outer posture, the posture in the outer body. Let's go into the internals now. So basically what we're trying to do with the shape on the outer body is create a vacuum down here in Dantian, a vacuum, meaning you're going to create space, and that space that you create inside the body is going to draw the qi and the air downwards. Okay, so we're trying to establish this point, fill it up, get it active. Now, internally, what you want to do at the same time is relax the abdomen, especially the area in the zheng dantian. Remember, that's the point behind the belly button, not the lower dantian. And as you do this, the abdomen will expand outward from the center of the zheng dantian. As that happens, and this is very important, the chest wants to stay sunk down, which means the space in between the chest and the back doesn't change. So for example, if you take a deep breath in and you notice that the chest starts to stick out and the shoulders come up, that's the opposite of what we want. So as we take this breath in, we want to keep that chest relaxed. This will help push the qi and the air down. Now, something has to accommodate that pressure downwards, and that's the relaxation in the abdomen. And this action helps create a vacuum, and that's what sucks everything down into that point. In the beginning, it's difficult because we're used to opening and closing the chest as we breathe, so you want to make sure you're relaxed. You want to make sure that as you bring the breath in, you control the shape of the breath. So we're not gulping breath down. The breath is evened out. It's almost in the shape of a ribbon as it goes down. Okay, this takes control, this takes practice. But it's very important that the chest stays sunk. If it doesn't stay sunk, the chi will come up and you're not getting it down. All right, so it's very important for a couple of things. You have a tension at this point, okay? This point, this Zhendantian, will accommodate your mind, all right? So if you haven't practiced this in a long time, this area, it feels like there's no ability to articulate that area, like maybe you can articulate your hand. Well, you can articulate your hand right with your hand, do all sorts of things because you've done a lot of practice bringing the mind down to this area in writing, pointing, using a keyboard, all sorts of things, okay? So you want to bring that type of attention that you've used to train your hands and your legs sometimes to this point, okay? And there's nerves down there that will accommodate, but it takes time. It's a new connection between the brain and that area. Now, as you inhale, you want to relax that point, sink the chest so the air and the chi gets funneled down there. Remember, the key word there is a vacuum. You're creating a vacuum. You're creating space, all right? And as you exhale, the abdomen comes in, it condenses towards the center of the Zhendantian. Okay? Breathe in, make the space, sink the chest, breathe out. Okay? And you want to listen to how your body wants to breathe. You don't want to get into pushing or forcing in any way. Listen to how your body wants to breathe. Relax for a second and simply watch your body and see how it wants to breathe. When it wants to take a breath in, let it take the breath in. When it wants to exhale, let it exhale. Okay? And you want to follow that rhythm. And you want to work with that rhythm in coaxing. You're coaxing. You're creating space. You're using attention. And you're coaxing the breath down. If you try to force the breath down and push it in there, it won't work. That area will protest and will stiffen up. You want to soften that area out. Okay? So inhale, exhale. Another thing you want to make sure of is that the inhalation and the exhalation are the same length. All right? And with most people, if you watch your breath, you'll notice that your exhalation will be shorter than your inhalation. What you want to do is slowly bring those two to the same length. And one way to do this is pay attention. And this is also very important. Pay attention as you exhale, that you exhale all the way out. All the way out. You condense completely and you get every last drop of breath out without using a lot of force. What this does is it creates a bigger inhale, a deeper inhale, and it only helps what you're trying to do. And that's one of the secrets to doing is making sure your exhalation is complete, that you're completely emptied out and that you're completely condensed. So on the inhale, all you have to do is relax, really. You're just really looking for the relaxation on the inhale to bring the air in. And that is determined by the exhale. The two are linked. Let me just go into a couple of things about what kind of feeling you're looking for as far as when am I ready to actually bring chi down to the lower dantian. So what we want to look for actually is a filling and a substantial feeling in both the channel that goes down from the nose to the Zhendantian and actually in the Zhendantian. So it feels filled up. That feels like a tube that's filled up and the Zhendantian feels filled up. All right, another thing that you're looking for that indicates you're ready to go on to the next point is warmth in the Zhendantian. And that warmth starts to permeate through the abdomen. At that point, you're probably ready to go on to the next step and bring it down to the lower dantian. But until you reach that point, you're really not ready because that channel is not frozen. It's not going to open up too well. What you don't want to do is try to bring these type of feelings on. You don't want to imagine these feelings happening. Just stick to the instructions and wait for something to happen. This will develop, and it takes time, takes persistence, This is something you have to practice quite regularly. You're not going to get it by practicing one time a week. And ideally, you want to practice about 20 to 30 minutes a day. It's better to do it 30 minutes a day because at the 20-minute mark, if you're practicing with a lot of intent and focus, that's when things start to happen, and you want about 10 minutes of that thing starting to happen where things actually develop. So 30 minutes is probably the minimum, okay? And you can do it in the morning or in the evening before you go to bed. Some other positive feelings or experiences you might have, or like I just had a big buildup of sweet saliva. Okay, that's one thing. Yawning, a desire to go to sleep. That means it's actually working. Also, a profound sense of relaxation when you're finished doing the practice. Okay, so those are positive sensations that you might have. Once again, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comment area. Please like the video. Make sure you relax, practice, and remember to breathe. Thank you very much.